Another week means another Mobile Suit Highlights episode, and this week we have our first DLC unit, the Blue Destiny Unit-1. It's piloted by Yu Kojima from Mobile Suit Gundam Gaiden, the Blue Destiny. The BD Unit-1 is a 2000 cost suit that has a lot to offer in terms of support capability, but can quickly become a major threat once it activates its exam system upon EX burst. Before we dive into that though, let's take a quick look at what it can do. Its A attack consists of firing its machine gun. Tapping it once fires 3 shots, while holding it down for its full duration fires out 10 shots. Plus it can be fired while boost dashing. AB will be your main method of dealing damage to your enemy. It fires off missiles attached to a wire, which reduces your mobility. You have 2 ways of removing it. You can simply boost away from the missiles until your wires finally let go of it, or press AB again to manually detach them from the wire, regardless of whether you're being hit by the opponent or in the middle of a hit stun. The GM summoned by AC will fire 3 shots at the opponent. If one connects, the remaining shots will hit because of hit stun. Blue Destiny Unit-1's BC is one of the best reasons it's a flexible support unit with above average mobility. It has a plethora of uses, like serving as a method to land yourself rapidly when in overheat up in the air, creating wake-up punishments, or sudden changes of direction by tapping BC again, which can really close in on enemies pretty fast. Melee and close range combat in general is a particularly strong suit for this unit, despite having exam system activated or not. You can use the wired missiles to create situations in which you cross up enemies from attacking from 2 directions at once. Plus, some melee combos have a missile follow-up after them and it does not consume any ammo. And CC8B causes a stun, which provides a lot of opportunities to do a decent amount of damage. As fans of the Blue Destiny already know, the exam system is a deadly feature for this unit. Initiated upon activation of EX burst in the game, it enhances the performance of Unit 1 by shooting its mobility up, and melee reach has been extended, which is the most scariest feature this suit has to offer when going up against it. Exam system AC tosses a GM instead of summoning one for support. Unit 1's melee and exam system boasts one of the fastest attack speeds in the game in terms of both approaching the opponent and how fast the attacks come out. They are capable of doing a lot of damage on their own, but mix in the shenanigans of its wired missiles, and you have the ingredients of a devastating unit at your fingertips. The first or second hits of neutral B and side B can be followed into practically any other melee attack. For Super Street Fighter 4 fans out there, think of this like Jury's Feng Shui engine, which allows almost all normals to strength into one another. Treat Unit 1 like almost any other unit in the game when it comes to movement. It relies on boost dash jumping to get around, but its BC does present interesting opportunities to roam around the battlefield in an unconventional way, which can potentially cause enemies to make a mistake. Mid to close range is definitely the most optimal range for it though. In the first match in this episode, we'll just examine basic gameplay with Blue Destiny Unit 1. We won't commit to anything too technical yet. We have the Strike Freedom and Nu as enemies, and this will already present an annoying problem with this suit. Both of these suits can zone Unit 1 pretty easily with their funnels, so you really have to pay attention on the direction where they're firing, and as you look for openings, to really get in and start harassing them with your own set of weapons. A good way to create an opening to get in is to just fire out missiles from your cables and being a distraction for them, since the unit's missiles have ridiculously good tracking. A way to compensate for the brief pause after firing out your missile with cable is to quickly press BC after it in order to make sure that you aren't too badly punished for it. Always be on the lookout for any obstacles your opponents run into out of carelessness. This is an easy window to start really punishing them and getting in position for Unit 1's ideal range, especially if one of their opponents tries to close in on you. Deploying your wired missiles to creep up on a person's blind spot from the side is an effective tactic once you're in that mid-range zone. Another way to really get the upper hand in close range is to emerge from a person's dead angle into CC8B, which stuns them. From there, feel free to follow it up with whatever makes you happy. If they really try to approach you head on, again, deploy your wired missiles once more to serve as traps in their way. Now on the flip side, we'll see how BD Unit-1 fares against suits that share a similar optimal zone. In this case, it'll be against Zankantou and Gundam Astray Red Frame. Of course, with Infinite Justice as my partner, assuming they know what they're doing, you should run in front of them and block their boomerang as it comes back for the extra EX meter. Or in this case, I attempted to, but semi-succeeded. Don't feel threatened by Red Frame's charge in for melee, simply BC out of the way and punish it in any way you like. Always be aware of any melee openings that enemies present you. While your machine gun and missiles are effective tools in mid-range, the neutral melee combo alone does more damage than them and you are prone to friendly fire from missile impacts up close. Since the unit has a machine gun, trading hits with the beam weapons doesn't work in your favor since it requires several hit confirms with the machine gun bullets for enemy units to stagger. BD Unit-1 is one of the few units I recommend saving as much EX meter for in order to get the most out of the limited time you have with the exam system activated. It's also one of the few units that actually benefit from the EX burst activation to get out of combos, to surprise enemies up close, which allows you to swiftly deliver a pretty satisfying end to their unit's life. The upcoming third match showcases Blue Destiny Unit 1's potential against units that have very few weaknesses, also known as almost every Siege era unit in the game. In the case of fighting against these units who are especially exceptional up close, I recommend to actually stay in the farther region of mid-range because Infinite Justice and Freedom not only do a lot of damage in melee, but they do it really fast as well. So if any of these units try to approach you with their melee, try to shut them down as soon as possible. No questions asked. Don't be too focused on a down enemy, but you do have the ability to execute an effective wake-up punish if you manage to time and release your missiles from the cable correctly. Remember that activating the exam system will refill your boost gauge because it's an EX activation, so this can lead to a lot of gimmicks to zone in on an opponent or up close really fast. Did I ever mention how much machine gun's tracking sucks? If I didn't, there's a pretty good visual example of why it does. For the first time in Mobile Suit Highlights, and from now on, the last two online matches won't be from me. It'll be from random experienced players from the replay channel in-game, which allows us to explore other different strategies used by much better players than me. Starting right off the bat, we have the pro tactic of firing your machine gun the moment the match starts. Alright, kidding aside, I can see why that'd be a good idea to nail down immediate pressure on your opponents so they don't just dawdle at the beginning of the match. In order to provide support from a farther but safer range, we're seeing some GM summons accompanied by 2 released missiles. That was a pretty smart idea, using the second BC to extend the sliding movement closer to the Infinite Justice, but not actually going in for the melee because he probably well knew that it would have wrecked him in it. Patience, non-Japanese players. Patience. Here we have a frantic exchange of shots with IJ, which results in a lucky break for our fellow Unit-1 player, as he gets a free punish on its landing. Now we have a brilliantly executed punish on Wake Up as the missiles push IJ to the ground, but since the player was mashing C to immediately get back up, the Unit-1 killed him with machine gun shots from the rear. Unfortunately, exam system didn't pay off this time. It was a very close contact to melee, but remember folks, melee in this game is not for the faint of heart because it can be so easily punished. The match is so very close, but probably one of the most deadly situations is happening in which Unit 1 is stuck at a dead angle in the corner near the border of the map. Keep in mind that escaping from a situation like that instead of being greedy for the victory immediately will pay off as long as you stay alive for as long as you can. Our final match for this group involves some really high level play for Blue Destiny Unit 1, but it does cover all the basic aspects I've gone through with you so far. Partnered with an uncommon 00 Riser player, it'll be quite important to try and save as much HP as possible in order for the 00 Riser to die first to prevent cost over. Right as the match starts, we see once again the immediate pressure of firing a lot of machine gun rounds toward your opponents. Notice how the Unit 1 doesn't pursue after the missile was fired off. Instead, he made sure that his own partner was okay, and once he saw that the Master Gundam got its combo started on it, he didn't hesitate to immediately help him by using its CC-8B stun. This is key not only to being a good Blue Destiny Unit 1 player, but being a competent partner as a whole for the core principles of the game. Help your partner, people, unless you want to lose and then whine about how your partner lost the game for the both of you. And now we see the usefulness of blocking in a battle. It doesn't last long and not many people use it, but it can be a lifesaver against melee-centric units, especially the ones from G Gundam. Overall, the Blue Destiny Unit 1 is definitely not a beginner-friendly unit. It requires patience and a bit of finesse to get accustomed to its support-heavy playstyle, but it rewards those who can think outside of the box, in creating interesting instances of wired missile setups to accompany its sliding movement, and plus the exam system adds a whole new layer to it that most people don't really see coming. It's a unit created to help your partner, not carry the team. Thanks for watching this week's Mobile Suit Highlights, everyone. My contact info is in the description, and the poll for the next episode is already being started in the Costover forums. I'll catch you next week, guys.